we are sitting down with Lily, a student at the University of Edinburgh, and she's just going to tell us a little bit about her study abroad experience and maybe some tips about health and well-being. So Lily, do you want to maybe start by introducing yourself, what you study, where you went abroad, how long for?
Sure. So, well, yes, I'm Lily, and I'm originally from London, and I'm studying physics, and I'm now in my fifth year. And I went abroad to Australia, to the University of Sydney, in my fourth year.
That's amazing. How long for a whole year then? Yeah. Oh, but you got cut
Yeah.
short because of COVID, of course.
Yes, so it was supposed to be a whole year, and I ended up having about 8 months there, and had to come back in March instead of June.
That's so much better than, it could have been so much worse, though, couldn't it? So glad you were able to go at all. While you were there, can you maybe tell us, was health and well-being important to you? Like looking after yourself, both physically and mentally. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think health and well-being, it was as important to me when I was abroad as it would be if I was at home. I think it's important to try and prioritize your well-being, which as a student I do find difficult sometimes. Say it's getting late and you think, oh, I have to keep working. I think it's important to say, actually, my sleep matters and I'm going to go to sleep, or I need to have time to go out and do some exercise, things like that. So I continued doing that while I was abroad as well.
That's really good. It sounds like you have quite kind of healthy, boundaries set up in your normal life at home that you just kind of took with you, which is really ideal actually. That's
Yeah,
really
I mean,
important.
that's the aim. I don't always manage to do it, but that's what I'm aiming to do.
Yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant. How did that work with the time difference, by the way? Did you find the time difference to be affecting your physical health at all in the first bit, or were you pretty okay?
The time difference, when I first got there, I split the journey into two, so I had a bit more time to adjust. I stopped off in Bangkok on my way over. Yeah, just for a couple of days. But once I was there, the time difference was actually kind of helpful because I'm a bit of a night owl, and so I could talk to my family like in the daytime, late at night for me.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
amazing. That worked perfectly then.
yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so we've established it was quite important to you, so that's great. Did you come across maybe any issues or maybe things physically or mentally that you kind of had to work on? I know you said you brought a lot of your strategies from home, but was there any things that you came across? And this could be anything from making sure you got enough exercise to dealing with the weather to even more social activities like making friends, meeting new people. Did you come across anything that you thought this is a bit different?
Um, well, I'll say the things I didn't come across that I was expecting to.
Yeah.
I was expecting I'd be homesick, but actually I really wasn't. I stayed in contact with my family a lot, which I think is quite important. And I did some calls with my friends who are back in Edinburgh. So yeah, I didn't really get homesick. And then as for making friends, I chose to live in quite a small like college, so with other students, and it was like we'd have our meals together, and it made it very easy to make friends and good friends quickly. I
That's
think
amazing.
it probably is a good idea to try and look for a student accommodation where
Mhm.
you'll be surrounded by the students, although it is more expensive. Otherwise, it probably is harder to meet people. But I say, yeah, definitely get involved in stuff as much as you can. It's
Mhm.
important to try and like create some kind of support network where you are. Yeah.
Absolutely. And were you housed with other international students, or were they Australian students, or was it a bit of a mix?
Yeah, it was a good mix. So there were lots of other exchange students, but also Australian students,
Mhm.
and then students from like China and India who were there for their whole degree as well.
Oh,
So
that's brilliant. So
lots of
living in student accommodation, if you can afford it, tick. A good way
well,
to meet people.
yeah, like try and live where there'll be lots of people you can meet, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How did you find the climate change going from obviously Scotland, where it's very dreary, rainy, to really hot, dry? What did you have to adapt or anything?
Well, when I arrived, it was winter in Australia, which was like summer in the UK. basically.
Amazing. You
There
lucked out.
wasn't,
You were there for the best part of the season then.
yeah, so there wasn't a huge change when I first got there, because yeah, Australian winter and like UK summer kind of similar, and then it did get hotter, um, and I mainly dealt with it okay,
Mhm.
except there were all those fires people might remember from the news.
Of course.
Quite
Absolutely.
unusual.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing because there was lots of smog and stuff, uh,
Yeah. Did
which
that
was a
get close to you, or was that more in the bush?
Well, it was like surrounding Sydney because
Hmm.
Sydney's surrounded by all these national parks, and so we weren't in danger from the fire itself, but we got like terrible smoke, and the sun was like red and stuff. So that made it harder to do things like do exercise, of
Yeah.
course.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. I know that the pictures where oh gosh, remember when we all thought that was the worst thing that could happen in 2020. And then it just got worse from there. But let's see. I'll move on from that. 2020. So do you have any? I know you said you were quite health and well-being is really important to your life in Edinburgh as well, and you took a lot of the strategies with you. But did you do anything different maybe during your exchange to help you, maybe well, physically and mentally, stay strong, stay stable. Did you do anything differently?
To be honest, I don't think I did. I think I tried to maintain the things I was doing, like trying to do some exercise,
Mhm.
I made sure I got involved. I do that when I'm at home anyway, but I made sure I got really involved with all the opportunities I could. Like I tried to plan places to travel to, and I got involved with all the university stuff, like all the intro stuff aimed at exchange students. I'd say definitely go to that because you want to meet people and know what you're doing. Um,
Absolutely. Did you
yeah,
join any clubs or anything?
yeah, so I did join some societies. What did I do? Bushwalking. So that's like hiking.
Amazing.
Yeah, that was the main one I did. Really enjoyed that. And got to explore some nice places around Sydney as well.
That's incredible. It sounds also very um something very specific to Australia as well. It seems like you really kind of dove into the culture because I don't know where else you can sign up for a bushwalking society.
Well, it's just hiking. It's just their word for hiking in the bush.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I personally like outdoor stuff, and
Mhm.
it's a good way to explore places.
Absolutely. Okay, so join the local societies and join local clubs. That's a great piece of
Definitely.
advice.
Yeah.
My last question to you, Lily, would be on top of the amazing advice that you've already given, do you have any maybe, um, let's see, summarizing tips or strategies that students can take with them on their exchange abroad? It might help them out a bit.
Yeah, so I've kind of said this already, but I think in the friends I made were like a big part of the experience. And of course, it's hard to tell people go and make friends because
Mhm.
people can really struggle with that. But try if you can to maximize your chances. So try and maybe live in a student accommodation or in an area where there's going to be lots of students. Get involved with, there's often societies specifically for exchange students to like meet each other. Yeah, just get involved with stuff basically. And another tip would be all the practical stuff that you have to sort out. So like
Yes.
I don't know, a bank account and a SIM card. I
Yes.
tried to do as much of that as I could before I went because
Mhm.
I knew there'd be enough to deal with when I got there without having to worry about all of that as
That
well.
is a really good piece of advice. I wish I would have known that. Sorting out, trying to get a complete new phone company, even trying to figure out what phone companies were available here. When I studied abroad, I was like, well, I have no idea. So that is a really, so use that time, kind of that intermittent time when you're waiting for your visa to really look at the practicalities. That is a brilliant piece of advice. Well, thank you so much, Lily. Absolutely wonderful comments from you. We really appreciate your time with us.